Welcome back to the second episode of Vinegar and Oil. Today we are going to talk about what to do when your life is a dumpster fire, because Charlie's life is a dumpster fire right now.
It's keeping a homeless man real fucking hot. Real hot on a winter's day, in like Michigan, somewhere Canada maybe, Alaska,
Somewhere it's cold.
somewhere really cold.
I see.
This dumpster fire is very hot. Like not a trash fire, dumpster.
Dumpster. Okay, so we're going to talk about what to do when your life is a dumpster fire. And fall in with that is just like when life is feeling hard, especially because we're in the winter and seasonal depression is a thing. So it's like how to maintain your equanimity through it all.
Still don't know what that word means, but equanimity, y'all.
Equanimity, equalness, levelness, even keel, how to like not be subject to the highs and the lows, but just, find your grounding, your baseline.
So what would be the opposite word for equanimity? Because that's me.
Dumpster fire. No, like a roller coaster, or like big dramatic emotional swings or highs and lows. Yes, exactly. So this is actually funny because I had a dream last night that you completely blew up your life. Like you walked away from the office and you guys were gonna go live in cars. And so you have a big family, and so you guys were living in like 3 different cars.
Considering the size of my family and considering the size of my fiance, there's 3 different cars. So who's driving the third? Did I bring dad along or something?
It was Dan. Sorry, your your ex baby daddy was driving a car, and then you had a car, and then probably Jim had a car, and then it was interesting.
Were they the Broncos at least?
I think those got repoed.
Cancel all that.
It was just,
oh my gosh,
just a dream.
But
let's talk about life being a dumpster fire, and you can be our real life example.
Yeah, talk about something different, please. This is someone I always think my life is a dumpster fire, but I mean, I feel like I'm coming around and learning how to like not look at it as a dumpster fire and look at it more like clearing and just trusting the universe. At least that's what I'm trying. Like it really changes minute by minute. I might be like, fuck it, I got it. I handle it. You know what? Everybody just leave, pack up, go, start over. I got it. And then 3 minutes later, I'll be like, oh my God, I'm never going to make it. This is the worst thing that could ever happen. So yeah, we're still shedding. It's so funny because one of the astrologists that I follow, she was saying like, you will be blindsided this week. And I literally thought to myself, I was like, there is nothing else that could happen in my life right now that could truly blindside me. It wasn't going to happen. And lo and behold, Tuesday was like, the staff is gone. I'm back into my office full time, not just full time, like, doing 3 different people's roles full time. So that was a hard pill to swallow, but luckily, like I just put on my big girl panties and just walked in the office and was like, all right, we're doing this today. And we did. And I don't know. I think what's helped me a whole lot is just having like unwavering presence. Like just be in this moment and not even get through this moment. Be in this moment, appreciate this moment. Everyone I love is alive. And these are the things that I can just don't even want to push gratitude. Like I'm not going to say, be grateful. I know everything's really hard right now, but be grateful. But sometimes when you can just stop, look around, and ask yourself, is this the worst thing that could happen? Most of the time, I think you can find positive things to focus on instead.
So the astrologist said, you're going to get blindsided, and you're like, there's no way. And then the universe said, hold my beer, watch.
Hell yeah. Yeah, hell yeah, it did. It was a big ass beer too.
Well, and so like, I don't want to put judgment on your life, or like, you commented that you always feel like you're in a dumpster fire, but I think what you face is like big swings between things are going really well and things are going like you kind of get that roller coaster. And I don't think it's personal. Just knowing you and like looking at your birth chart and stuff like that seems to be the lessons that you get to learn is this, big dramatic things. You get like the exciting tests. And I think one way to like positively look at it is like, look at all these challenges I get to learn and grow from. Look at all these growth opportunities I get.
Yay.
Like,
So just wonderful that you could just put another obstacle in front of me. Really what I needed. No, I
oh,
would say so. I've definitely been that person in the past who is truly like hypes things up too. A boyfriend breaks up with me, or like just really something small goes wrong. And I was that person that was so dramatic. I can't live anymore. I can't do this anymore. And don't get me wrong, those words have definitely come out of my mouth in the last year. But the last year has been the hardest year I've ever experienced. And I look back on my old self, and I definitely know that my old self could not handle those things. And so I do truly believe we're not going to be given something that we cannot handle. We can handle it. And wherever we are at and whoever we are at in that moment can match that obstacle and overcome it to level up. And it doesn't always feel like that in the moment, but hindsight, it does feel like it. So when I'm having this dumpster fire of a week, there was a lot of silver linings too. It was one of the funnest weeks we've had in the office in a long time. It was one of the most lucrative offices or weeks in the office that we've had in a long time. It was fun to hang out with patients and just do the dang thing and help people heal. So there's always something to latch onto or to ground to or to anchor to for all of us.
I think that so you mentioned like, life gets hard and you're like on the edge of I don't want to do this. I can't get through this. And like think about how many times throughout your entire life you've been there or I've been there. Like where it just feels like the world is falling apart. Like I will never get through this. Like there are those moments in life and I always remind myself like I've always survived them, right? Like I've never not survived those moments. So why wouldn't I survive the moment that's here now? I've gotten through these things hundreds of times before. Of course I'm going to get through it. Like you said, like you just need that like inner knowing, that grounding, that's something to anchor to. And it's like we've all been here before. It's been hard for all of us before, and we've always been okay, right? Like we're here, we're okay. We've
We
never
always
not been okay.
Right. And there's always that contraction and expansion, right? I don't think that you have to have contraction in order to expand, but you have to know what you don't want to know what you do want, right? And so from those contractions, we say, "Oh, hell no, I'm never doing this again." And it pushes us to level up in a way that we can almost take that energetic control. James, my fiance, always plays this game with me because, like Alexis said, I am that person that's like, the sky is not falling, it has fallen. And and James is always like, okay, so worst case scenario, cars get repoed. Like, thank you, Alexis, for putting that out there. Um, cancel. Or we, lose whatever, our home, or you take it all away. What would we do, right? What would we do? Don't have the business. Okay, I'll go work for somebody else. We'll find another way. We'll get another home. Like we can find a way. Like the worst thing that we think is happening in that moment is really not that bad.
Anything that we like the circumstances are challenging, but it's not usually like the circumstances we're in that are challenging. It's like the what if or like, ooh, we had a rough week financially. What if the house gets, repoed? They don't repo
It's
houses, but
playing into the future. It's the
exactly.
anxiety driver.
Right. And so like we keep imagining things that are way worse than they ever are going to be most times. And even if they are going to be that bad, you don't need to suffer twice by spending time thinking about it. And so, like you mentioned earlier, just being like so ever present because when you're in that bad situation, you will know what to do. Don't worry about it till you get there. And chances are you're not going to get there.
Right. And I will say, looping back to this being one of it is the toughest year I've ever experienced. and I stopped sleeping. I've never really had an issue sleeping except when I was in college. And it's not because I was doing keg stands instead of sleeping, although there were many of those nights. I did not sleep because I was so afraid. I played softball in college. I was so afraid of missing weights because I was a catcher. I was a slow girl on the team. Working out was not fun. One of my pitchers and we would literally joke around like during workouts, like, what if we just pretend to trip and be injured so you don't have to do this terrible workout? Well, if you were late to the weight room at 6 a.m., you had to do twice the workout as everybody else. And so that was like it never happened to me, but it was the scariest thing ever. And I would stay up all night, just, barely going to sleep for a little bit and then waking up and checking my phone and my alarm and everything. But this year, I actually was struggling sleeping. Like I had that cortisol wake up every 2, 3 a.m. for about 2 or 3 hours. I could not go back to sleep because I was so um in a place of fear. And so what I started to do was at first I would just make lists. These are the things that I need to do to get my life back on track. And then I pivoted and I started writing down, what do I want my life to look like? What does that dream house look like? What is that dream life? What is that dream routine or vacation or whatever? And I would just lay in bed at night and just type that onto my phone. And it would somehow calm me down enough that I could look back on it and just focus there.
Well, that's really interesting because it kind of feeds into a point I wanted to bring up. And um, not to get like woo or into the manifestation, although we can get there, but where our energy goes, where our energy flows is what we bring in. And so if we're constantly focusing on what we don't want, that's what we're going to get. And so for you to like even be able to shift into the positive and start thinking about the things you do want, then those are the things that you're going to start bringing in. But the question I wanted to bring up, because we all know those people that's just like one thing after the other, they can never catch a break. And energetically, I think that we play a role in our own suffering. And we kind of start attracting these things. We don't mean to, but like when we get in a cycle, we are in some way, if we're taking some like radical responsibility, we play a role in this. So if you're experiencing just like one thing after another and life's not giving you breaks, I think you really have to stop and examine, how did I get here? What am I doing? What needs to be changed in my essence to address all this? And it might even just be like a perspective shift, but since you are currently experiencing a lot of dumpster fires, do you think that you've played a role in dumpster fire land, or
It's so funny.
for some reason like it seems like a test that you keep getting?
It's so funny you say that because, well, let's just say this is a dumpster fire. I mean, last year was a dumpster fire, and it's been one thing after another and another and another. And it was really, I could not catch a break. And at least, like Lexa said, there would be breaks in between. There would be ups and downs. Well, I wasn't hitting any ups. I wasn't even hitting neutral. It was just punch in the face, kick you on the ground, kick you while you're on the ground, right? The last probably solid 2 to 3 months, honestly. And I started blaming everybody around me. Everybody. It's that person's fault. It's, you didn't do this, or you didn't do this, so I have to do it. And it was just becoming angry at everybody else around me and playing that blame game. And in the last week or two, I've done a lot of, we're doing that Gabby challenge, right? A manifestation challenge. I've been doing vision boards. I've been doing rapid transformational therapy. I decided about 2 weeks ago, actually right after I had my fourth baby, Brixton, I was like, I have to change something. And if it's laying here uncomfortably and listening to this meditation that I don't want to sit still through, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it every day until something changes. And it was like immediately starting to catch breaks. And so we're sitting here talking about my dumpster fire of a week, but if I ground and get present there's the silver lining. It's everything I've been asking for. I've been asking for change. I've been asking for things outside of my normal day to day. And in order for those things to come in, there has to be a clearing out. And so right now, there's a radical trusting that the universe is clearing the path to give me everything that I want. And I caught very many breaks this week. Like, even though I was like, where the hell did that come from? I caught the breaks to deal with it. So,
Well, I think this touches on like a couple different things. One, we do have to let go and change for things to get better, right? Like if we're in the same cycle and we want to show up differently, if we want different things in our life, then yes, things have to change, things have to shed, and that is uncomfortable. And we don't actually often talk about there is a cost to change. There is a cost to giving something up to get something else. And you do have to, make space for what's coming. So to sit in that place that's really uncomfortable and say, I'm going to let go of this or let this go and trust that something better is coming is really quite challenging, but also like really important because it's never easy. There's always a cost associated with change or leveling up or whatever you want to call it. Like even people that want to get healthy, there is a cost associated. You have to give something up to get healthy. And that might be your fun, that might be, certain relationships, that might be certain foods you love. There's always a cost to change.
sure.
But the other thing I wanted to bring up was, what was it? Do you think that there's a level of if something's just like continually hard, and like I'm going to use you in your office and employees, for example, do you think that at some point you're not on the right path if things keep just hammer, punch, hammer, punch, hammer, punch?
It's it's not one of those things that are cut and dry. It's not a black and white answer, right? My experience with this might be for a different reason than somebody else's experience with that, right? Me personally, I know there's a lot of my nervous system is not ready to hold what I want, or it has not been ready to hold what I want. So things will go really great and be really easy. And my nervous system is used to thinking that things need to be difficult or I have to struggle to be successful and to be happy. And those are things that we have to work hard for. And so there's definitely a need to retrain the container or get a bigger container, so to speak, to hold everything that I want to hold. So in a lot of respects, I'll be like pushing good things away or pushing good people away or, the likeness of that because I think I only deserve so much. And so at the end of the day, it is all radical responsibility. We have to take every single thing that happens in our life. Somebody flips us off, they get mad at us, whatever. We have to take radical responsibility for attracting that. It is nothing that anybody else did. It is all what we called in at some point. And the more radically responsible that we can become for all the, not just bad things, but the great things that happen in our life, then we can retrain our nervous system to keep bringing in those great things.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing to recognize is that, and I'll talk about this from my own perspective. And when I was working my corporate career and living that life, like I was so depressed and miserable. And I'd get small highs, like you'd get a raise, you'd buy a new car, you'd dye your hair, and you'd get these small highs you could kind of cling on to for a minute. But then something kept feeling wrong. And the boulder was always getting pushed uphill. And it was hard and it was suffering. Now, the new path I'm on now, it's hard. Like, it's not easy. It's hard, but there's not suffering. And I think that's really important to acknowledge that if you are growing, if you are expanding, if you are trying to get more out of yourself, out of life, like the path is always going to be hard, but there won't be suffering. It will not be suffering. It will not drag you down. It will be like a hardness you almost welcome. I can point back at everything the last few years and say, wow, that was really fucking hard. But it was also like there was ease and flow and no suffering. Like through the hard challenges I face now, am different and feel them differently than when I was on the wrong path. And so it's interesting. Like, I don't think it ever gets easy. Now, I think there's like more ease, but I don't think it's ever easy.
I think there's always a choice. Because you could say, I mean, maybe if I was living out in the sticks, I'd be like, fuck that, my life is a rock ass bottom. So it is always an ultimate choice, right? Surely, I think there's maybe an official poem or saying or whatever, but having money is hard. Having nothing is hard. Working is hard. Not working is hard, right? Like having kids is hard. Not having kids is hard. And I think that's where we come together on this podcast of we can choose to view our lives and our path as hard, or we can choose happiness. We can choose to have that radical responsibility of where we are at, we have called in, and whatever we want, we can have. And what I want is different than what you want. I mean, did you see my Stanley? Alexis is obsessed with how many Stanleys my family owns.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
tell them how
basic
many.
over here. How
Oh,
many is it, Alexis?
I think the count was like in the 40s. It's a lot
But
of
that makes
Stanley
me
Cup.
happy. She can't fit all those Stanleys in our cupboard. So, but that's okay. I think she's happy with that.
Well, and it's so funny because I think we have opposite lives and opposite things that we're happy with. Like, I love where I live right now. Like, I walk out and I see stars at night and there's snow on the trees and it's gorgeous. And I can, immediately just be on a trail, walking and hiking and moving. And it's what I need. It's what my soul needs. So,
And I need to keep those boo-boos filled with breast milk. And so I need 6 Stanleys around me at all time. 40 ounce, baby.
oh my gosh. Well, and so I think the fallacy comes in though. Like, I think it's a misnomer to expect things to always be easy because at the end of the day, we're humans and we're going to continue feeling human emotions. And some of those emotions are going to be good, but some of those emotions are going to be bad. And there's no scenario, like there's zero scenarios on this, you know, existence that any of us are experiencing that we will always only maintain good emotions. Like those hard emotions are going to come up and we need to accept that. And that's where the equanimity comes in of you can't just ride the highs and you can't only be happy when there's highs because the lows are going to happen. Life is going to happen. It's the only way that we grow is if there's contrast. And so like if we like approach this like we'll never be angry or sad or mad or hurt again, then like that's unrealistic. I think there's always going to be pain and challenge and sadness and all of these hard emotions. And they will be tempered with good emotions, but we have to like feel and accept and make room for it all, right? Like there is a yin and a yang to this existence. There is good in the bad and bad in the good, and there's never just good.
Right. The masculine and the feminine, and we're ebbing and flowing between the two. I totally agree. And I think that there needs to be a almost a neutrality with our emotions in the sense. Now hear me out.
That's equanimity.
Oh, well, for the for the normal people who don't, read a dictionary every day. That maybe that was a more relatable word. How about that? And so, that equanimity for for lack of a better word is and how I'm interpreting it, that neutrality of emotions of recognizing, hey, that made me angry. I'm angry. That's okay that I'm angry, and not choosing to stay there past a certain amount of time, right? We can, trickle into the fact that anger can be a knee-jerk response, but after about 60 seconds, you have a hormonal shift that if you continue to be angry, you might be choosing to do that, right? At the same time, it's okay if you choose to do that. If you have to feel that emotion and you have to work through it, then you work through it. So we're not stuffing stuff down inside and then having these autoimmune disorders down the road because we can't process our emotions appropriately. So I feel like it is kind of complex, but then, of course, always wanting to take complex things and making them a little bit more simple. I think there's a level of recognizing our emotions and not letting them completely take control over us.
Well, that's the difference. That's what equanimity is. It's knowing that you're okay no matter what. Whether someone comes by and says something really good or really bad to you, like you're the same. It doesn't change you. You're not influenced by external factors. You're you and you're okay. But so we can be like okay on that level, but the emotions are always going to be like waves. And it's not getting attached or identify with I it's not getting attached or identifying with those waves, right? Like you will feel anger, but you, like you said, you don't have to attach and get caught up or identify with the anger. You will feel good, but you don't have to attach or get caught up or identify with the goodness, because when we put too much on these emotions, they control us. And then we are just driven by chasing the goods and avoiding the bads, which is when, like you said, we start stuffing away and pushing away emotions. When if you do just sit with the emotion and you actually let it like be felt, it will pass, like you said, within about a minute. And if you don't, that gets stuffed and built up and built up and built up, and you don't process it. And that is when we get states of disease. Most people, no, all almost probably, I want to say all people, but I don't want to like speak in absolutes. There isn't a spiritual or emotional component to disease. And not feeling emotions is definitely a factor.
I think we're both of that school of thought that emotions do have to be felt. They do have to be dealt with. They are indications of our path in life, what needs to be, what needs to happen if we're doing the right thing, we're not doing the right thing. They're like a thermometer, right? And so there needs to be a lot of respect towards those emotions, and I think that you and I both agree on the fact that when those emotions are suppressed, this is when your body and your spirit that is residing in this body is going to start yelling at you, right? This is probably um I want to be careful here, but really not. It's probably the foundation of most, if not all, physical ailments and injuries. Is it happens in our etheric body first. It happens in our emotional selves first. It isn't dealt with appropriately. And so at some point it has to be dealt with. You can't create or destroy energy. This energy has to go somewhere. And unfortunately for a lot of people, that means those physical ailments.
So Ayurveda talks about one of the biggest causes of disease is a misuse of the senses, or a not listening to the inner knowing. Like we know, but we do things against our best interest or inner knowing. So that's like staying up all night watching Netflix. Like we know that's not good for us, but we do it anyway. And
But if we feel like it's good for us, isn't it good for us?
I don't know about that. I don't know if it quite works like that, but it's like anytime that we stop bypassing, or anytime that we bypass like our inner wisdom and we go against ourselves and we're going against nature, that's when things get out of balance, you know? Like we know maybe in a moment, like we want to listen to music really, really loud and really angry music because it's going to make us feel better in the moment. But like we know that's not great for our highest self, right? Like music's too loud, it damages our eardrums. That's a lot for our mind to process. And while we might need it to move some energy occasionally, like if we are listening to dark, heavy metal constantly, that's going to lead to states of disturbances because that's not what our body wants. That's such an unnatural place for our body to be, but we ignore the inner wisdom for instant gratification that feels good in the moment. So something might feel good in the moment, but it might not be best for you long term. And I think we know deep down what's what,
Well,
like,
again, right? Not everything's black and white, and it can start with the fact that some of us, many of us, whatever, are disconnected from that inner wisdom. So we don't even get that, like, well, maybe I shouldn't be doing this.
yeah, that's a great point. We are very disconnected, and live in a society that keeps us disconnected because we are so far from what's natural, right? Like we live in such artificially driven worlds that we've lost that tie to ourselves and to the world and to the nature and to all the things that like guide us almost.
Like, you're literally living in the damn woods. I'd say you're pretty connected to nature, looking at all your sparkly stars at night.
Why I try, but I certainly like, like I'm in front of a screen right now. I used a microwave today to heat my coffee. I
Alexis.
have fluorescent lights. Like there are things that still contribute to me and that, it's like the cost of living in society. It's the cost of playing in this place in the world, right? Like I want to see clients, I do it virtually, I use a computer.
But you can't beat yourself up over it, right? Like, we are where we are for whatever reason. We are on this earth at this time for whatever reason, and we can't just hate on all the modern things. No, don't get me wrong, girl, plenty of things. Teslas, right? I can't even believe we're using a microwave, but people are driving in microwaves, right?
I
So
drove in a Tesla today.
do better, do better. Not even. It's not even cool. It's not even cool. But there has to be some grace. So what are some fun ways that you deal with breaking yourself out of a shit week or a shit day or shit moment? What are what are some ways that you find that stability to not sulk in a bad day or something like that?
Okay, so a couple of my go-to tricks. One,
I
microdosing.
guess.
Well, yeah, you can guess. Don't.
An enema.
Well, I do love my enemas though, but no.
Yoga.
Um,
Climb
yoga,
a
yeah,
tree.
yeah, absolutely. Go back and connect to nature. Meditate, those type of things. I totally do all that. But the things that help me most are knowing the unknown is known to me. Like knowing that no matter what, I will be okay. And I do spiritual work to foster that. That's why you meditate. That's why you do yoga. That's why you take care of yourself because it gives you something to connect back to. And to me, that's this greater knowing that like I'm okay. I've fostered this spiritual system around myself that just gives me this deep okayness. I know the unknown is known to me. I know that whatever I'm going through right now will be okay. So just like having a mantra to go back to and having some sort of system to foster that in, I think is really important. Like we get glimpses of just like pure okayness or expansiveness or connectedness to something greater than ourselves. And just knowing that and being able to come back to it, I think is really huge for me. Um, I also had somebody share some really great wisdom with me about abundance lately. And abundance isn't having 40 Stanley cups in your cupboard. Abundance is I have a roof over my head, I have food in my stomach, I am grateful. Like the amount of things that we need to be grateful, the barrier's so low. And if we can just find appreciation for having the bare minimum, we will be able to call in more because we're okay with whatever happens and we're not going to be sitting here in bad moods pushing away the good things from us because we are so grateful and appreciative at this very basic level. I have a roof over my head, I have food in my stomach, I am abundant. Like if you say that, like say that, you will feel it in the moment. Like you can't like say that and not feel like okay. And the other thing I do, because I mean, there's so many reasons that we get into funks, right? Like seasonal affective disorder is real. We do need sun and nutrients. Like we need movement, we need fresh air, we need good, healthy relationships. We need things to feel good. But one of the things that I use, because some days it's just like I'm in a funk and I'm having a bad day and I don't know why, or I can pin it on something, but I'll take a microdose. I will take psilocybin microdose because it will help shift the mood. And that's something that helps to repattern and recreate new neural pathways. So instead of having to carry out the same cycle of misery that a lot of us get stuck in, it gives you a chance to like choose a different lane and it breaks that cycle. So I appreciate that. And I'll use that. And I also use a lot of herbs. I definitely use herbs to process emotions, process anger, process grief, to feel good, to adapt to life, to give padding between me and the hard corners of life. Like, I use so many tools regularly that, you have to have a toolbox, and you have to be willing to pick up and put down tools at any given time, because I think that what we need changes so frequently.
And they're going to be different for every situation and every day. And sometimes they're going to try 8 tools in one day and just be like, all right, I just need to go sleep or something. But unwavering trust in the universe, that's a great one. Shrooms, fantastic. The microdoses have been, in my history, absolutely life-saving. And we definitely need to delve in on an episode with those. Herbs, right? And I'm not even going to ask you which herbs because and nobody got time for that, but perhaps we can do a post on just some herbs that you personally use and whatnot to help with tougher days. Let's see, what else is there? Retail therapy. We both like cooking, right? Do you ever feel like cooking is meditative?
Yeah, I love cooking. Cooking is
Yeah.
a huge creative outlet.
Right, right. And it's something like you gotta eat. For me, my kids gotta, eat even if I'm in a place. And so sometimes just going to the store and looking around and being inspired, right? Back in spirit is a huge thing. Buy another Stanley. I'm joking. This is not sponsored by Stanley. A
Yes.
hot cup of coffee though. Something simple like that. I know it's cliche, right? Go shopping, get a coffee, but those are little things that can make a huge difference.
I did fail to mention a good cup of coffee. That's totally also one of my um coping mechanisms, and good music. Like, I have songs and things that I can go to help like modulate my mood. I'm in a funk. Oh, I forgot. I really love this music, and I can kind of escape or tune back in or do something with it.
I'm eating my placenta right now. Don't go watch the video. Placenta encapsulation has been huge for me.
To get a picture you over there like eating
Should
it
we
like
edit that out?
no, like I'm picturing you eating it like a steak over there. Hmm. Is that making your mood better?
Yeah, I think so. Couldn't
Nice.
have done it without the placenta this week. Nicotine?
Okay, that's
Come on.
we don't
Come on.
sponsor that one.
You love it. Oh,
Makes me
the
feel like I'm gonna have a
energy.
heart attack. Oh man.
Oh, I'm
You
so
gotta have other things. You do a lot of things. Like, you don't use tarot, but you draw cards, and you have crystal, like you do other like hippie things, don't you?
Yeah, I do oracle cards every single day. So I have a deck that I'll use every single morning. I'll draw a card. I'll look at the astrology for the day. I've been starting out doing, listening to something positive. And then I draw a card for each week as well. So I do have like an we call it the princess corner in my house. I do have an altar where we are essentially I'm setting intention for what I want to call in that week, the lessons I want to learn, the things that I just want to focus on.
But that's gotta be like a nice thing to anchor back to daily or weekly for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sometimes a good shower just like fixes life too.
I'm a bath girl. Put me in the bath. Do you have a bath in there? Oh gosh. Yeah, I usually end most nights with a bath, to be honest. Again, listening to something, winding down, and just cleansing the day off me. That's a big one that I learned, honestly. Good day, great day, like go home and shower or bathe. Like get the day off of you, get the interactions off of you, and then that way you're going into bed and you're marinating in yourself and not everybody else. Yeah.
I love the words you put around that. I wonder if this is a big one for you, because I know I need it, and if I don't build in alone time, it builds up, and then I struggle. So, you being so busy, because I interact with like one or two people a day, like you probably interact with like 100 times that in a day. So
Literally upwards of, yes.
I'm curious how important alone time is for you to like recharge or recenter.
It has been something that I could definitely do better. Finding a hobby that I just do on my own. I have not really found that as much, but I'll be honest. My fiance is amazing for this. If I say I need to go take a bath alone, like I can go take a bath for 15, 30, 45 minutes if I need to. There's something else that just escaped me. But yes, the bath is a big one that I can build in every single day. Oh, but even just like asking him to take the kids to the park on the weekends and just me being in the house to clean and reset my intention for our home and for myself and to put on a podcast or put on music, even that sometimes is enough to just to re-find myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think like all these things we're talking about are things to help get you out of the loop, right? Like get you out of that cycle or that interrupt what's happening or what's taking root in you and just do something different.
Drive a different way to your work or listen to something different or right, put the window down. I'll do that a lot. I'll drive. Even my fiance again, like he will tell me if I am in a really 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 bad funk of I cannot do this anymore. He's like get in the Bronco and just drive around. Drive down to the coast. We love doing going down the coast. Put the top down, get the air on you, put the music up loud, go to your favorite coffee shop and just like you said, break it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and for you, what that sounds like to me is like demand-free time, like time where there are no demands on your nervous system. There's not a child that needs you. There's not a partner that needs you. There's not a business that needs you. That sounds like a very rare moment in your life where you get to be like just free of it all.
In theory, built into the routine and day to day, other than my bath time at night, it is a rarity. But what's not a rarity is me saying, "Oh my God, I don't know if I can do this," and somebody pushing me, or it's usually him to go take the time. And it doesn't take long. That's the thing is, I'll be like, "That's so stupid," or "I really don't want to," or "I just want to stay in this mood," and he will make it a non-negotiable. Like, just I don't care what you do, you go. You're not interacting with anybody anymore. Like, just go be alone. And it will take like maybe an hour, and then I'll be like, oh, I'm okay. It's fine, right? Like, what's the worst thing that can happen, right?
Well, isn't it so funny how like things can feel just like so bad one moment and then the next moment like everything's back to being okay? And I will tell you, and this is like veering off for topics for future episodes, but things that like really keep me in that like dark down life is really freaking hard spot. Not eating right,
Mm.
not sleeping. If my nervous system's overburdened, like even smelling too much Febreze when I'm a little out of balance will like set me into an almost panic attack mode because it's taxing the system. We are putting too many burdens and demands on the system and the system has nothing left. And that's what that feeling is, that like deep, dark, like, oh, it's so hard and I just want to cry and nothing's okay. And I just want to like, shove off into the woods and not interact with anyone again. Like that is depletion.
Hmm.
We are under-resourced when we feel that way. We need nutrients, we need nourishment, we need to like tend to our bodies.
Absolutely. And sometimes, yeah, there's this whole new thing coming out that genetics is talking about a lot about that there's different genes. Have you heard of this? That there's the warrior gene and the warrior gene, and a lot of women end up having that warrior gene that tells us like, hey, this isn't good for you. And so it throws us into that fight or fight. Like you're talking about like smelling Febreze or something, or not eating something that is nourishing for your body. Your body is going to give you a fire alarm. It's going to give you that, hey, you're not reacting well to this. You need to get out of this situation, fight or fight, run like hell, fight it, whatever. And so the more that we can avoid those, or even just again tuning into that wisdom, can help us set ourselves up to not be in those situations or to remove ourselves quickly.
Well, it's a little twofold, right? Like everything is nuanced. Like what part of it is like avoiding situations that we are incapable of handling at this time. And then two, building up our resilience so that when we are in situations, they don't rock us as much. Like if my body were perfectly in balance, Febreze would be whatever occasionally. But when I'm already low and depleted, it will tip me over the edge. So, like, finding resilience, doing the things to, like, nourish and maintain the energy stores and the nutrients and the nourishment we need, and avoiding what we are not ready or capable of handling.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue too much because we're at the end of the show. I think there is a level of sensitivity, though, to somebody who is in touch and not exposed to these things as much, that somebody who's and we're talking about Febreze, like, let's just keep the conversation there for a second. If somebody's inhaling this every single day and they're getting these neurotoxins and these toxins to their hormones and all that, their body is gonna shut down, right?
100%.
So there's also that level of somebody who is really in tune. Those sensitivities aren't necessarily a bad thing. I do agree with what you're saying. Like if you are doing all the right things and your body is more resilient, you are going to detox it quicker and get rid of it, and it's going to get out of the system and you're going to be fine, and it's not going to rock your world for a long time, but it might be more jarring at first.
I fully agree with you, and I think that, like, there is a point of dynamic health where one thing will not tip you out of balance, you know? Like, you are resilient, our bodies are adaptable, they are meant to handle a great load, but most of us are not there, and I do think that, one, like, you know, I'm not this is not sponsored by Febreze, I'm not pro Febreze, or I don't think anyone should be sniffing it, but, like, there are people who can't go certain places because if they get a whiff of it, like, they're out. So, like, one, building resilience, but two, yeah, being in tune with how the things in your environment affect you, I think is really important. The goal isn't to, you know, be able to huff that all day by any means. I think we should actually ban Febreze.
In short, this was not sponsored by Febreze.
No.
And if you want to avoid seasonal depression, don't use Febreze. Right? I think too that summarizes about everything. But I think that we've got a lot of really good topics that we can really branch off into in the future. And if anyone is hearing any of these and you're like, yeah, I'd like to know more about that, let us know. Let us know in the comments.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.